I know someone probably clicked on this video expecting me to talk about gacha life, and if that's what you came here for, you were surely mistaken. But anyways, I'm sure there's more than enough of you out there that play some sort of gacha game, whether you were interested by the designs, recommended the game by a friend, jumped on the hype train, or just felt like it. There's a lot of us who play gacha games. So, for this video, I just want to talk about gacha games and all of their aspects. Hello everyone, I'm Detective Real, the internet's greatest detective, and welcome to a video on gacha games. Hopefully this is getting uploaded at the time I want it to be, so I can finally say I'm becoming a more consistent YouTuber. But I was sitting down playing Epic 7, getting ready to move on to my Dragon Ball Legends dailies when it dawned on me just how much I play gacha games. It's weird how a lot of the gacha games on my phone are like the only games on my phone. Aside from that, is there anyone that wants to show me their awesome collections from the gacha game or games that they play? Feel free to @ me on Twitter, I'll try to check them out. But anyways, let's start the video. Let's start by defining what a gacha game is. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, it is not those freaky chibi models that dominates the YouTube recommended of every 7-year-old out there. Gacha games are usually free-to-play games that include microtransactions that can help you acquire a character or weapon. There are many different models, but I won't be going over those today. But sometimes you might sit there and wonder, well, does that mean that Fortnite is a gacha game because buying V-Bucks is a microtransaction? And to that I say, while that does make sense, here's what separates gacha games and games with normal microtransactions. Let's say you bought V-Bucks in Fortnite. When you buy those V-Bucks, you know exactly what you're buying with those V-Bucks, be it battle pass tiers, skins, or gifting your friends cosmetics in the game. But when you buy currency in a gacha game, let's say Sky Stones in Epic 7, you have to buy a separate currency for the gacha system, like the bookmarks in Epic 7, which you can use to summon on a random assortment of items which you are not guaranteed to get at all. Of course, you can use the main currency to buy cosmetics and such, but most of the time you're spending it on the gacha currency. Now that I've made the distinction for you, let's move on to our next topic. Gacha games are nothing without a treasured story mode to back it up. Even gacha games based on pre-existing franchises need an original story to go along with them, because retelling the story on a crappier format is pretty useless. But no gacha game story will ever remain the same. I like the fact that all of these gacha games have their own unique experiences and incredible worlds to build, in their own way of course. But it's not to say that all gacha game stories are enticing stories that will keep you engaged for all eternity. One example of a gacha game story that kinda just bored me out of my mind was the Cookie Run Kingdom story. It was fun at first, these cookies doing their own things, trying to build and expand their own kingdom, but after a while I could not keep myself glued onto whatever nonsense they were spewing at me. But in contrast to that, the Genshin Impact storyline might be one of the nicest storylines in a gacha game that I've experienced, at least from a gacha game that was released in 2020. I love all of the vibrant characters and the lovely world that miHoYo, now known as HoYoverse, has presented to us. And although I'm not fully caught up with the current events in Inazuma, I cannot wait until I catch up. But I think a gacha game story I was not expecting to fall in love with was the Epic 7 storyline, as I had downloaded the game on a whim with AFK Arena just because of this app I was trying out. I felt kinda bored with Epic 7 and actually deleted it at first in favor of AFK Arena for reasons that I can only describe as the game was simpler. But about a week later, I grew increasingly bored of AFK Arena very fast, and next thing I knew, I was back on Epic 7. I fell in love with the visual novel style of story, the characters in this medieval fantasy world, and the writing hooked me in. And I haven't regretted a single second of this game that I have played. Smilegate, I thank you for the wonderful experience you have given to me and continue to give to me in Epic 7. All gacha games, well, most gacha games, carry their own unique set of rules and playstyles that they brandish for creativity's sake, but also advertising. It's not to say that some gacha games won't borrow the playstyle of another, but they always tweak something to make it more unique to themselves. Take for instance the Fate Grand Order playstyle and the Slime Isekai Memories playstyle. If you just looked from an outsider perspective, you would tell me that they're the same dang game. The Slime Isekai Memories is 3D, automatically making it just a bit different from Fate Grand Order, which is a 2.5D experience. But using the same playstyle doesn't make it bad. It means that they've cut out the formula that could drag their game down. in favor of someone else's perfect working formula that has helped their game for a while before yours existed. A favorite of mine has to be the Dragon Ball Legends playstyle, as it's a real-time thing that uses cards and ki, and as you use cards, whether it be strikes, blasts, or special attacks, they consume ki. It's actually super addicting, and when you get into the team building, it becomes crazier. One of the worst gacha game playstyles I think I've ever seen is the one that Attack on Time has. Thanks to a Reddit post from user DJ Sakani, I learned that this game baits in its players with all these beautiful women, just for you to try the combat and figure out that you don't even get to see firsthand what those characters do when they fight. It's a text-dumped idle game, and not a very creative one at that. At least AFK Arena was able to keep me entertained. I just don't know about this one. And the crazy thing is, the ads that I've seen for this game don't show you any of this. They know what they're doing. But anyways, let's move on. Almost as important as the story, a gacha game's UI is the foundation, as if you have a horrible UI, people will probably stop playing pretty fast. If you notice that the easiest place to navigate to is the summon screen, you should probably reconsider playing that game. I'm just joking. I think. But a trashy UI can make for a terrible experience. Here I have some nice looking home screen UIs from Azure Lane, courtesy of my wonderful friend Sho, and from One Piece Treasure Cruise, courtesy of my homie Kia. I think one of the nicest UIs I've ever seen in a gacha game comes from Dragon Ball Legends. It's very nice and simple and doesn't leave you looking for much more. In fact, they've made many improvements over the years and I feel like they're finally at a good spot with the UI. One of the worst UIs though? Freaking Evertail! There isn't even much I want to talk about here. It just sucks! And there's more for me to say, but I'll leave it for a later section in the video. So let's just move on. Well, it had to come to this at some point in time, but this is the most integral part of a gacha game, their gacha system. Honestly, if you await the release of a gacha game, you're probably more curious about how the gacha system will work. One thing I will say is that there's no gacha game that has a perfect gacha game system. There will always be flaws that show in a gacha system, no matter how you want it to be like. Take for example, the Dragon Ball Legends gacha system, which did not have a pity system for 3 years. Of course, if I'm being honest, it doesn't really mean much to me since the pity system still has a couple kinks that need to be worked out, but that might just be me. But instead of me talking about all of these technicalities in the gacha system, let me talk about some gachas real quick. Number 1. Evertail and Attack on Time. I'm putting them both together to compare and contrast the two, because they both lure you in with different tactics. I don't know if anyone remembers Evertail's antics with their false horror game advertisements, but if you ignore that fact, their gacha system introduces you to many women in less than work-friendly clothing, probably seeking to trap in any of those weak enough to continue spending their money on the game for these characters. But the difference between the two is that although Attack on Time uses the same strategy, Evertail is an actual game. Attack on Time is like a Mad Lib without the free choice, an ebook of sorts. You don't even get to see whoever the heck you're playing with. So if you wanted to see some rambunctious Bon Hunga Toonkalus, think again. Freak. Number 2. Bleach Brave Souls and Dragon Ball Legends. Those two feel very similar to me. They both contain normal banners and step-up banners on occasion. A step-up banner is a banner that increases in price as the steps increase, but a max price is reached usually midway through. You also get to fully play with your characters in real time, at least on story. Bleach Brave Souls Arena is unfortunately auto only, but everything on Dragon Ball Legends besides the Tournament of Power, is all real-time stuff. And the sprites are all 3D. Despite the fact that Dragon Ball Legends does carry more quality, I like the design of the sprites in both games. Number 3. Epic 7 and Genshin Impact. Yes, they are fundamentally different games, but they both have drop-up rate banners for characters on occasions and pity systems that I really like. Yes, Genshin is the better game in terms of pure quality, but I love Epic 7 for what it is. Anyways, I don't have much to say about their gachas. They are genuinely very good, at least in my opinion, because I don't want to get angry with either one of them. Number 4, Fate Grand Order. Fate Grand Order. Number 5, Grand Blue Fantasy. Grand Blue Fantasy. Anyways, let's move on. Every good gacha game needs a collaboration. Sorry, every gacha game needs a collaboration. There isn't too much for me to explain. Some franchise leds characters from their series to a gacha game, they get events and a banner/banners added in the game, and they are added for some amount of time. Like I said, not much for me to explain. I like when collaborations fit really well. For instance, Epic 7 and ReZero, Konosuba Fantastic Days and Danmachi, Guardian Tales and Slayers, and surprisingly enough, Arknights and Rainbow Six Siege. With how each world is built in these games, these collabs feel right at home and usually perform well. At least, I think they do. Now let's talk about collabs you would never expect to see in some of these gacha games. Literally anything Puzzles and Dragons have done. One Punch Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, Bakemonogatari and Nisei Monogatari, and recently freaking Star Wars. I don't know how this game has done it, but it's insane to see how many large franchises have collabs with Puzzles and Dragons. And it's weird because it's literally just Candy Crush's ancestor. Also, Azure Lane and Dead or Alive has kinda left me split. Like, both games have very lewd characters and outfits within them, but Dead or Alive is still fundamentally a fighting game, and Azure Lane is a game with ship girls, so I don't necessarily know if this is a collab that makes sense. Actually, sorry, I can't forget about Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball, so yeah, this collab is definitely very accurate. Finally, you can't talk about gacha games without talking about how they advertise themselves on the internet. Of course, gacha game ads always present themselves in different ways, so you'll never see the same thing over and over again. Well, I mean, you can, but it doesn't work for every gacha game. But it feels like all of the bad ads are all of the ones that are completely false or are hiding something crucial in their ads. For instance, Evertale! Those false horror ads that actually have so little to do with the game, it might as well be an ant compared to the world itself. In fact, those ads literally put Evertale in problems because a lot of the videos that were made about it garnered quite a bit of views. But it's not just because of the fact that Evertale itself kind of sucks, but because of the fact that people were actually super interested in these ads. More ads I find unbelievable are the ads for Attack on Titan, because they continue to show you the characters you can summon for and play with, but they don't ever seem to speak on the gameplay for some reason. I wonder why. Probably because there is no gameplay. This isn't a game, this is a fan fiction for horny people who like MMA with anime characters. But I really like the ads from gacha games that are actually honest about what's in their games or what they can present to you. I feel like I don't need to give examples of what an honest gacha game ad is, but generally speaking, a good ad is a fun one, and one that will generally have you hyped and ready to play that game, even if you don't end up enjoying it later down the line. This video idea randomly came about, and I'm honestly kind of glad that I put it into motion. There aren't actually too many games I'm playing right now, at least on my phone. But if there's anything that I didn't mention here that you would like me to actually play, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and as always, it's been elementary, my dear Watson.